7 angels from heaven are trying to warn you. They are begging you to hear them. This is their last attempt. Open it quickly. Archangel Michael says, "You are being watched closely, not by enemies, but by 7 divine forces from above. These angels have traveled realms, pierced dimensions, and crossed the veil of eternity to reach you today. Their voices are trembling now, not in fear, but in urgency, because time is no longer your friend. They have gathered in one sacred circle, hands held tight, their wings brushing against the air of this world. Your name was spoken by all of them at once, 7 times, echoing into the winds that now surround your home. They didn't choose anyone else, they chose you. The reason is deeper than you think, far beyond what your senses can explain. The danger isn't coming, it has already entered your timeline, and this moment is their last holy effort to awaken your soul. Comment now if you feel your spirit shaking. They have shown signs already: sleepless nights, recurring numbers, feathers, flickering lights, whispers in dreams. If you have ignored these, you still have a brief moment left to shift. These angels are not here to give you comfort. They are here to prepare you. Have you ever felt as though something was trying to get your attention? Not in a loud or dramatic way, not through a voice from the sky, but through moments, small moments, the kind that seem ordinary until you look back and realize they were trying to tell you something all along. Maybe it was a dream you couldn't forget. Maybe it was a strange coincidence that happened one too many times. Maybe it was a feeling deep inside your chest, a quiet knowing that something in your life was changing, even before you had proof. What if those moments weren't random? What if they were messages? Tonight, we explore an ancient idea found across cultures, traditions, and generations. The belief that unseen forces work behind the scenes of our lives. That when we drift too far from our purpose, guidance begins to appear. And according to a powerful legend, there are 7 celestial messengers who step forward when a person's life reaches a critical turning point. Not everyone hears them. Not everyone notices the signs. But those who do often discover that their lives are never the same again. So if this message found you today, stay until the end, because the first of the 7 messages may already be unfolding in your life. Imagine standing at the edge of a forest just before dawn. The world is silent. The air is still. Everything seems frozen between what was and what will be. That is where many people are spiritually right now, between chapters, between identities, between endings and beginnings. The strange thing about transformation is that it rarely announces itself. Most people expect change to arrive with fireworks and certainty, but real transformation often arrives disguised as confusion, as delay, as uncertainty, as questions that refuse to leave your mind. The first angel is said to be the guardian of awareness. Its message is simple: pay attention, because the life you are living today is being shaped by decisions you don't even realize you're making. Every day, people walk past opportunities because they are distracted. Every day, people remain trapped in situations because they have become comfortable with what is familiar. Every day, people ignore warning signs because they don't want to face uncomfortable truths. The guardian of awareness appears when your soul is ready to wake up, not because danger is necessarily coming, but because unconscious living is its own danger. Think about it. How many times have you ignored your intuition? How many times have you sensed something wasn't right but convinced yourself otherwise? How many times have you stayed silent when your inner voice was begging you to speak? The first angel doesn't arrive to frighten you, it arrives to remind you. to remind you that your attention is one of the most powerful forces you possess. What you focus on grows. What you ignore often controls you from the shadows, and what you become aware of can finally be changed. Perhaps there is a relationship in your life that no longer feels aligned. Perhaps there is a habit quietly draining your energy. Perhaps there is a dream you've buried beneath years of responsibilities. The first angel asks only one question: what have you been pretending not to see? That question alone has changed lives, because awareness is where every transformation begins. The second angel is known as the Keeper of Truth, and its arrival often feels uncomfortable, because truth has a way of dismantling illusions. Many people spend years building identities around expectations, the expectations of family, the expectations of society, the expectations of people who never truly understood them. Eventually, a moment arrives when those identities begin to crack. The mask becomes too heavy to wear, the role becomes impossible to maintain, and the person begins asking questions. Who am I beneath all of this? What do I actually want? What kind of life am I meant to live? These are not small questions. They are life-altering questions. The Keeper of Truth appears during these moments. Its purpose is not to judge. Its purpose is to reveal, to shine light into places that have remained hidden, to expose beliefs that no longer serve you, to reveal fears that have quietly controlled your choices, and perhaps most importantly, to remind you that authenticity is not weakness, it is power. The strongest people are not those who never change. The strongest people are those willing to confront the truth when it arrives, even when it challenges everything they thought they knew. There is an ancient saying, the soul whispers before it shouts. Many ignore the whispers until life becomes loud enough that they can no longer avoid them. A broken relationship, a lost opportunity, a sudden change, an unexpected ending. People often call these moments setbacks, but sometimes they are awakenings. Sometimes life removes what no longer belongs so something better can take its place. This is where the third angel begins to move, the angel of realignment. Its role is not to destroy. Its role is to redirect, because the story is only beginning. When most people think of blessings, they imagine receiving something, a new opportunity, a new relationship, a financial breakthrough, a dream finally coming true. But what if some of the greatest blessings arrive as removals? What if the very thing you've been mourning was actually making room for something greater? This is the lesson carried by the third angel, the angel of realignment. Unlike the first two angels, this messenger rarely arrives quietly. Its presence is often felt during periods of disruption. A job changes unexpectedly, a friendship fades away, a relationship ends, plans fall apart, and in those moments it feels as if life has turned against you. But the angel of realignment sees a bigger picture. It sees paths you cannot yet see. It sees consequences hidden behind choices. It sees destinations that your current road could never reach. Imagine a traveler standing at a crossroads. One path appears smooth, comfortable, and familiar. The other looks uncertain and difficult. Naturally, most people choose comfort. Yet the comfortable road may lead nowhere. The uncertain road may lead to destiny. The angel of realignment exists to gently, or sometimes forcefully, guide people toward the road they were meant to walk. That is why some closed doors are actually acts of protection, not punishment. Protection. How many times have you looked back and realized that something you desperately wanted would have been disastrous if it had happened? How many times have you later become grateful for a rejection, for a delay, for an ending? At the time it hurt, but years later, it made sense. The angel of realignment specializes in creating those moments. Moments that only reveal their purpose in hindsight. And perhaps there is something in your own life right now that falls into this category. A chapter that ended before you were ready. A plan that failed despite your best efforts. A person who walked away. Maybe it wasn't the end. Maybe it was a redirection. Maybe the path was changing because your future required it. The fourth angel is known as the guardian of courage. And this angel arrives when fear has become louder than faith. Fear is one of the oldest forces known to humanity. It wears many disguises: fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of success, fear of becoming who you were truly meant to be. Many people think courage means feeling fearless, but courage has never been the absence of fear. Courage is movement despite fear. It is taking the next step when certainty does not exist. It is speaking the truth when silence would be easier. It is choosing growth when comfort is calling your name. The guardian of courage carries a simple message. You already have more strength than you think. Think back to the hardest season of your life, a time when you felt certain you couldn't continue. A time when you thought you had reached your limit. Yet somehow you made it through. You are still here, still standing, still moving forward. That alone proves something remarkable. You are stronger than the version of yourself who doubted you. The guardian of courage wants you to remember this, because there may soon come a moment when you are asked to trust yourself again. A moment requiring a decision, a risk, a leap, an opportunity that arrives disguised as uncertainty. And when that moment comes, this angel asks you to remember every challenge you've already survived. Because evidence of your strength exists throughout your entire story. You simply forgot where to look. Now we arrive at the fifth angel, the Watcher of Vision, perhaps the most mysterious of all. This angel governs perception, not eyesight, insight. There is a difference. Eyes allow us to see what is in front of us. Vision allows us to see what is possible. Many people lose their vision long before they lose their way. They stop dreaming, stop imagining, stop believing that their future can be different from their past. Eventually, they begin living inside limitations they created themselves. The Watcher of Vision appears when a person has forgotten how powerful imagination truly is. History's greatest achievements were once considered impossible. Every invention, every masterpiece, every breakthrough, every revolution, all began as an idea inside someone's mind, an invisible possibility, something no one else could see. The Watcher of Vision reminds us that the future is built twice, first in imagination, then in reality. This angel asks a powerful question. What would you pursue if you knew failure was impossible? Take a moment to think about that. Would you start the business, write the book, change careers, move somewhere new, speak your truth, build the life you've secretly imagined? Most people's greatest limitations are not external, they are internal. Invisible walls built from old fears and old stories. The Watcher of Vision doesn't remove those walls. It shows you they were never real to begin with. There is an old legend about the seven angels. It says that as a person draws closer to their true purpose, resistance increases. Not because they are moving in the wrong direction, but because they are moving in the right one. Think about a plane preparing for takeoff. The greatest resistance comes at the beginning. The engines strain. The speed increases. Everything vibrates. For a moment, it feels easier to stay on the ground. Yet seconds later, the aircraft rises above the clouds. Many people abandon their dreams during the runway phase. They mistake resistance for a sign to stop. But what if resistance is actually proof that movement has begun? What if the challenges you faced recently are evidence that your life is changing? What if the pressure you've been feeling is not there to break you, but to prepare you? The ancient stories suggest that every major transformation follows a pattern: awareness, truth, realignment, courage, vision. And after these 5 lessons have been learned, only 2 angels remain. The final two, the most powerful of all, one governs connection, the other governs destiny itself. And according to the legend, when those final angels appear, a person's life can change forever, because the journey is reaching its turning point, and the final message has yet to be revealed. If you've stayed with this message until now, you've already traveled farther than most people ever do. Not physically, internally. You've moved through awareness, through truth, through realignment, through courage, and through vision. Now only 2 angels remain. According to the ancient legend, these final messengers appear only when a person stands at the threshold of transformation, a place where the old life begins to fade and a new one waits just beyond the horizon. The 6th angel is known as the Keeper of Connection. Its purpose is often misunderstood. Most people think success is a solitary journey. They imagine that strength means carrying every burden alone, that wisdom means needing no one, that independence means isolation. But the Keeper of Connection teaches the opposite. Every great story contains meaningful relationships. Mentors, friends, allies, teachers, people who arrive at exactly the right moment. Sometimes they stay for years, sometimes only for a season, but each leaves a mark. The 6th angel reminds us that not everyone enters our lives by accident. Some people challenge us because we need to grow. Others encourage us because we need hope. Others mirror truths about ourselves that we could never see alone. The challenge is learning the difference between those who nourish your spirit and those who drain it. Think about the people closest to you. How do you feel after spending time with them? More energized, or more exhausted, more inspired, or more discouraged, more hopeful, or more doubtful? Energy leaves clues, and the Keeper of Connection encourages you to pay attention to those clues, because your future is influenced by the company you keep. A single conversation can change a life. A single mentor can alter a destiny. A single friendship can open a door that years of effort could not. This angel asks you to remain open, not naive, open. There is a difference. Being open means allowing meaningful connections to enter your life. Being naive means ignoring warning signs. Wisdom requires balance, and balance is one of the gifts this angel brings. There is another lesson carried by the Keeper of Connection, perhaps the most important one: forgiveness. Not because others always deserve it, but because carrying bitterness is like carrying a heavy stone on a long journey. Eventually, the weight slows you down. The person who hurt you may have moved on years ago, yet the burden remains with you. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting. It does not mean excusing harmful actions. It means reclaiming your energy, reclaiming your peace, reclaiming your future. The 6th angel understands that a heart filled with old wounds struggles to recognize new blessings. That is why so many people miss opportunities for joy. They are still fighting battles that ended long ago. This angel whispers a question: what would become possible if you finally released what no longer belongs to you? For some, the answer is freedom. For others, it is peace. For many, it is the beginning of a completely new chapter. And now we arrive at the 7th angel, the final messenger, the angel of destiny, the one who stands at the doorway between potential and reality. Ancient stories describe this angel as carrying neither sword nor shield. Instead, it carries a mirror. Because destiny is not something given, it is something recognized. Many people spend their lives searching for purpose, as if it were hidden somewhere far away. But what if purpose has been walking beside them all along? What if the clues have always been there, the challenges that shape them, the passions that energize them, the experiences they could never forget, the dreams that refuse to disappear? The angel of destiny lifts the mirror and asks you to look closely, not at who you were, not at who others expected you to become, but at who you truly are. This is often the most difficult moment of the journey, because authenticity requires courage. It requires letting go of old identities, old stories, old limitations, the person who constantly doubted themselves, the person who settled for less than they deserved, the person who believed they were powerless. Those versions cannot follow you into the future that awaits. They belong to another chapter, and every chapter must eventually end. Imagine standing before a massive doorway. Behind you lies everything familiar, your habits, your routines, your fears, your excuses. Ahead lies uncertainty, possibility, growth, potential. Most people spend years standing at that doorway, thinking, analyzing, waiting for certainty, waiting for perfect timing, waiting for permission. But the angel of destiny reveals a profound truth. The doorway was never locked. It never required permission. The only thing preventing movement was hesitation. And hesitation has stolen more dreams than failure ever could. Failure teaches. Failure refines. Failure reveals. But hesitation leaves questions unanswered forever. What if? Those two words have haunted countless lives. What if I had tried? What if I had believed in myself? What if I had taken the chance? The angel of destiny does not promise a life without obstacles. It does not promise constant success. It promises something far more valuable, a life lived fully, a life aligned with purpose, a life free from the regret of never trying. The legend of the seven angels ends with a remarkable image. The seven messengers gather together one final time. The guardian of awareness, the keeper of truth, the angel of realignment, the guardian of courage, the watcher of vision, the keeper of connection, and the angel of destiny. Together they form a circle around the traveler, not to carry the traveler forward, but to remind them that the next step belongs to them. Because every transformation eventually reaches a point where guidance must become action, where inspiration must become commitment, where potential must become reality. That point may be closer than you think. Perhaps it is a decision you've been postponing, a conversation you've been avoiding, a dream you've been delaying, a chapter you've been afraid to begin. Whatever it is, the message remains the same. Your future is not waiting for perfect conditions. It is waiting for participation. So as this message comes to an end, remember this. You are not defined by your past mistakes. You are not limited by your previous failures. You are not trapped by the opinions of others. You are not required to remain who you were yesterday. Every sunrise offers a new opportunity. Every decision creates a new direction. Every moment carries the possibility of change. The seven angels may be a legend, a metaphor, a spiritual teaching, or something more. But their message remains timeless. Wake up to your life, speak your truth, trust the process of change. Choose courage over fear. Protect your vision. Value meaningful connections. And step boldly toward your destiny, because the greatest transformation is not becoming someone else. It is becoming who you were meant to be all along. And perhaps that journey begins today, right here. Right now, the doorway is open. The choice is yours.